You're very welcome. So this is a very special time of the year, coming toward Halloween, but in the Celtic tradition we call it Samhain, which is a celebration of, in a sense, death. Death being a prelude to birth, to coming back. So this time of the year really invites us into the darkness. It invites us into the quieter spaces. In the same way, if we look around in nature, first I think you see the beautiful colours that the leaves take on as they begin their journey toward death, toward leaving. And then as the leaves are stripped away, there is the bare tree, and the energy of the tree comes back inward and down into the roots. And the same is invited or asked of us. This invitation to move inward and to spend more time being in this inner space, accessing this inner space, nurturing and caring for this inner space. So it's a journey of really getting to know ourselves on the inside, moving into the darkness, which for many of us can be a scary idea. You know, many of us avoid going inward because we hold grief, we hold suffering, we hold pain and wounds, and we don't really want to look at them. But without taking this journey, we miss part of ourselves. We are half of who we are. And the invitation of all our lives at some point is to do this work, is to move inward and to meet what we need to meet. And the amazing thing about doing this work is, although it may seem scary, when we actually do it, we realize that our greatest resource, our greatest power is from this journey. It moves us away from where we get stuck and blocked. You know, the ideas that we get caught up in our heads. And in a sense, this practice moves us into our heart. It moves us into a place of greater ease and greater balance. We meet ourselves. And the essence or the ground of being is one of compassion, is one of kindness. And we learn to give that to ourselves. So I wanted to open our practice by reading a poem by David White. This is a poem called Sweet Darkness. When your eyes are tired, the world is tired also. When your vision has gone, no part of the world can find you. Time to go into the darkness where the night has eyes to recognize its own. Time to go into the darkness where the night has eyes to recognize its own. There you can be sure you are not beyond love. There you can be sure you are not beyond love. The dark will be your home tonight. The night will give you an horizon further than you can see. The night will give you a horizon further than you can see. You must learn one thing. You must learn one thing this world was made to be free in. You must learn one thing this world was made to be free in. Give up all the other worlds except the one to which you belong. Give up all the other worlds except the one to which you belong. Sometimes it takes the darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn. Sometimes it takes the darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn. Anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. Anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. So today's practice, we're going to move on to our backs. We're going to work on our backs for the majority of our practice and come back to sitting. This again is a practice to support us in dropping in dropping deeper. And the movement really facilitates that. It begins to unravel the body, and we hold so much, even just in our physical body, the tension that we're aware of and even the tension that's hidden there. As we begin to unravel and open the body, there is an easier journey inward, an easier path, a clearer path inward. So take your time, move onto your back. So as you come onto your back, let's keep the 2 knees bent, 2 feet on the floor. Bring one hand to the lower belly, one hand to the heart, letting the elbows drop down into the floor. And then close your eyes. And just feel what's beneath your hands. Let your attention, your awareness stay close to your breath. And then could we begin to deepen our breath? So we're inhaling for, let's say, a count of 5 or 6 seconds. So it's slow, steady breath. And we're exhaling for the similar amount, 5 or 6 seconds. Breathing, if possible, through your nose. And just noticing the movement that's happening beneath the hands as you take these longer, steady breaths. Now, if you find 5 or 6 is a struggle, breathe for 4. Perfect. Stay with these longer breaths. And you might find it very easy and comfortable to do this, but you might find it difficult. You might find the mind agitated, and this is a great sign. It means you're beginning to move in, and what you're doing is meeting your resistance. And it's almost the idea of being able to smile at the discomfort. You know, the discomfort is just something moving through you. And it's really easy for us to get stuck on it. And yet, it's just a layer. So you can acknowledge it to yourself, whatever you might be feeling, whatever you might be noticing within you. And we simply stay with our practice of noticing the breath, taking these longer, deeper breaths. Inhale for 5 or 6, exhale for 5 or 6. So notice the movement under the two hands, the one down at the abdomen, the one on the heart. Relax your face and your jaw. Slow, steady, uniformed breath. That every breath you take, you get more uniformed, more fluid, more balanced with the breath. Stay with these breaths. Although it might be challenging, it might be uncomfortable, this is an amazing way of beginning to shift the physiology of the body. An amazing way of bringing us back toward equilibrium or balance, back toward vitality and well-being. Now at the top of the next inhalation, could you pause holding the breath for, let's say, 2 or 3 seconds? And then very gently releasing it for that longer exhalation, and do the same at the end of the exhalation. So we have those long, long inhales and exhales with that pause, that holding between the breath for a few seconds. Stay with the breath. And there are so many parts of us that get lost. Thich Nhat Hanh had this beautiful phrase that our lives are an experiment with truth. And there are parts of us that don't know truth, that get lost, that create suffering, drama. So our practice is a way of beginning to bring us back to something deeper within ourselves, to connect to something deeper. And the breath is a very astute way of doing this. The breath is such an old mechanism. Nothing contrived, nothing to work out. Let all your attention move to the breath. Rest with your breath. Now after the next exhalation, take a moment to pause and then let the breath come back to its natural rhythm. And as you do that, we're going to bring the two legs together and we're going to cross the left leg all the way over the right leg. So the two thighs are one on top of the other. And then bring the right foot over to the left, bring the hips over to the left, and let the two legs begin to drop over toward the right. Now, this is not about forcing or straining. Yes, you're going to feel a sense of twist. Yes, you're going to notice a sense of tightness. But it's got to be relatively comfortable. So if you feel like you need some support for the legs, you can put some cushions underneath them. That'll hold them a little higher, make it a little easier. Let the hands rest on the body wherever is comfortable. And then breathe into the tightness. Wherever you notice it, breathe into those spaces. So there are these parts of the body that, in a sense, get discluded or feel separated. We don't pay attention to them, we don't notice them. And this is an opportunity just to notice these places that we'll highlight through different positions. And as we meet them, the breath and the awareness is enough to begin to include, to begin to allow them to feel like they're part of this bigger system that we are. This integrated system of our body, all the different parts of our body, our mind, our emotions. A few more breaths here. Perfect. We're going to bring the two knees back up. We're going to keep the left leg on top, bring the hips back to center. Now, we bring the foot on the floor over to the right, we bring the hips over to the right, and we begin to tilt the knees toward the left this time. Now again, we're not forcing, but we are interested in accessing some of the holding that might be there in the body. And as you notice it, breathe into it. Inhaling and exhaling. Perfect. Okay, we'll come back through center. Uncross, hips back to center. Little waddle in the pelvis. Just a little sway, something that feels fluid and aligned with freedom. Just to let things ease out. And then we'll cross the right leg on top. Now we move the hips a little to the right. We move the foot a little to the right. And then we drop the legs over toward the left. And again, maybe you want a brick or a cushion or a book or something underneath the legs. You work that out. You can keep the hands on the body. If you prefer to take the arms wide, feel free to do that. Close the eyes. Notice the breath. And breathe into any tightness that you might feel. Inhaling and exhaling. Perfect. We're going to bring the two legs back to center. Again, we're keeping the right leg on top. We're moving the hips and foot over to the left a little, and we're lowering the knees, legs over toward the right. It's important you don't force as we go through these poses. Almost less is more. So although you're meeting discomfort, it's not overwhelming you. This is so often what happens when we're in the world. We become overwhelmed by discomfort, and it triggers the nervous system. It compacts the nervous system's tendency to tighten us, to keep us in a kind of protected mode, tightening the body, creating rigidity with our thoughts and mind. Old patterns that we're ready to loosen up and release through these type of practices. Bring the 2 legs back to center. Uncross the legs again, hips back to center. Again, a little sway in the pelvis. Okay. Next thing I'd like you to do is take the 2 arms up toward the sky and then wrap the arms around you, holding the ribs. So you've got the hands on the sides of the ribs or somewhere on the ribs. And then close the eyes again and breathe deeply into the hands. So you're focusing on the rib cage now and the movement the breath creates within the ribs. Long, deep, steady breath. So actually the opposite happens. It's these muscles that are woven through the ribs that work, that dilate and expand and create a vacuum that then creates your inhalation. So when we focus on waking these muscles up, and these muscles work or are designed to work as a cylinder, circumferentially, meaning expanding evenly on all sides. And when we focus on reminding them how to work, the facility of our lungs increases. Most of us on our day-to-day are only using about 5 or 10% of our lung capacity. So this work actually is so crucial, particularly in the world we live in, when our lungs need to be strong and vital and be able to fight off viruses or assimilate what we breathe in. A few more of these deep, deep breaths, even squeezing the hands in, taking deep breaths, pressing the ribs out into the hands as you breathe deeply. Waking the muscles up so you create a little bit of resistance to allow that to happen. Perfect. Okay, we're going to release the arms, bring them anywhere that's comfortable. And then I want you to bring your attention down to your feet and just begin to move and spread the toes. Just move them, feel them, notice them. And then can you, with your feet, without moving the feet, can you grip your mat, grip the floor, and don't move the feet, but pull them toward your hips. So you feel a little movement, a little tilting in the pelvis. Some of you will notice the pelvis kind of tips downward and the arch in the lower back tips upward. So I want you to then let everything relax and do that again. Grip with the toes, without moving the feet, pull them toward your hips. And at the same time, can you actively press the bum down? Now you might notice some tightening around the lower back. Again, I don't want you to force or strain. But let it all go again. We're just waking up these places again. One more time, grip with the toes, pull the feet towards you, press the bum down. And release. And again, grip with the toes, press the bum down. And again, release. Great. Okay, one last time. Grip with the toes, pull the feet toward your bum, press the bum down. I want you to sustain as best you can the arch in your lower back. Slide your right leg out along the floor. Bring the left knee in and hold the back of the left thigh. So now as you're transitioning through this pose, I want you to see, can you sustain the arch in your lower back as you take the foot you're holding up toward the sky. And then move the foot around, just slowly. Slow down the movement. And as you move, if you notice any pockets of holding or tightness, you might feel tightness from the foot down through the leg. Just pause in those places and breathe. As if your breath were an invitation for each of these little pockets of tightness to begin to release. You know, it's amazing what our intention can do, be it for our physical, mental, or emotional experience, or our energetic experience. When we begin to master and bring our attention and intention into the kind of explicit, as opposed to the idea of so much of our intention is unconscious, unseen, directing our lives. So be clear, you're just moving in order to open the body up. Move the foot around. Okay, let's keep the left leg up. Bring the right hand down onto the right thigh. Just let it rest on the right thigh. Take the left hand to the inside of your left thigh. Push your left hand and leg together. Build a little bit of resistance. Notice the weight in the hips. It's even on the two sides. Keep it that way as you slowly bring the left leg toward the left. So I don't want you to rush. Some of you will already have gone all the way. If you feel your right hip leg lifting, you've gone too far. Just breathe. So you might only go over a few inches. Breathe 3, breathe 2, breathe 1. We'll bring the leg right up again. Now take the two arms wide. Bring the left leg over toward the right. So the leg is kind of moving toward horizontal now. It might not be there, it might stay higher, it doesn't matter. Wherever it feels accessible. And then breathe into what you're meeting here. Breathe into the tightness. And breathe for 3, for 2, for 1. We're going to inhale the leg back up and then release the leg all the way to the floor and let the two legs relax. And notice if you feel any difference in the two sides. So the leg that you worked with will feel more grounded. And this again is a quality that we're amplifying in order to be able to do this work of turning inward more easily. Bend the two knees, 2 feet on the floor. Spread the toes, grip with the toes without moving the feet. Pull them towards your hips. Press the bum down. Feel the arch in the lower back. Maintain that position of the pelvis. Slide the left leg out. Hold the back of the right thigh with the two hands. Keep the arch in the back as best you can. Take the leg you're holding up toward the sky and begin to slowly move the foot and the toes. You know, even the idea that we're always having to get somewhere. You know, we have this ingrained from a very young age, you know, do this and you'll get a reward, do that and you'll get a reward, get to here and you'll get paid. All of those ideas, and of course they are part of the practicalities of our lives. And yet at the deepest root, we get confused then, thinking I'm not going to be complete or I'm not going to be full unless I get this, this or this. And that particular story is so toxic for us. It creates so much suffering in our bodies, so much holding and resistance and tightness. So we need to learn how to drop it. So even this exploring the body and feeling and finding little pockets of holding and then pausing and breathing, all of this is how we unravel these ideas that we carry in our bodies. Bring the left hand down onto the left thigh, slide the right hand to the inside of the right leg, and then slowly let the right leg begin to tilt toward the right without lifting the left side. We're here for 3, for 2. Nice. We'll bring the leg back up. We'll take the arms wide and we're bringing that leg over to the left. And then what are you meeting in the body? What are you feeling? Breathe into that space. And this is the beautiful thing about the practice and the simplicity of it, is that you'll create or access strong sensation in the body. You know, each position brings us to particular places. And it's not as if we're creating tension in these moments, but we're actually accessing a lot of the hidden holding in the body. Breathe into it. Breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we bring it back up. And then we release it again all the way down. And you just breathe here. Just notice the breath. Nice and simple. Perfect. Okay, let's bend the 2 knees one at a time, 2 feet on the floor again. Okay, can we do that same work with our feet? So without moving the feet, grip with the toes, pull the feet towards you, press the bum down so the arch in the lower back pushes pushes upward. Arch in the lower back gets deeper. Now, again, it's not about being in pain. So you might need to back off a little if stuff gets painful. And the lower back, its tendency is to be a big overworker in our back. So we're teaching, as we move through the practice, our body about integration, about how the different parts work together as a team in a way that is balanced. So it's building a coherence in our system, a quality of balance and communication. As you do this, can you press the back of the head down into the floor also? Can you slowly tilt your chin a little further away from your chest? Can you take deep breath into the ribs? Imagine the ribs filling with helium as you take a deep breath and becoming lighter. So the feet, the bum and the head are the heaviest bits, the anchored parts of you. Even the back of the shoulders is a little lighter as you press down through the head and bum. Now can you sustain this engagement? Soften your face, relax your jaw. Front of the throat feels long, feels open. Forehead relaxed, jaw relaxed. Breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then let everything soften and release. Let the body melt down into the floor. Okay, so this, again, in our journey inward, this is beginning to create a coherence between the front and back body, where it creates an engagement of the back body and an opening and a dilation of the front body. Grip at the toes, without moving, pull the feet towards you, press the bum down, press the back of the head down, tilt the chin away from the chest so you feel the front of the throat is open. You might notice the way the belly is longer too. And as you push down through those places, can you get a little lighter in the shoulders? Some of you could even lift the shoulders slightly away from the floor. Soften the face, just stay with this. Breathe into the back body, breathe into the ribs. 5, 4, 3, 2, and then for 1, again we let everything release down. Inhaling and exhaling. Okay, one last time. Grip at the toes, pull the feet towards you, press the bum down, begin to press the back of the head into the floor, begin to tilt the chin away from the chest. Again, as you anchor through the feet, hips and head, can you get lighter through the rest of the back? Breathe here. Now sustaining, keeping what you've got going on, take one hand to the back of the neck and just gently cup it and feel it. Feel the engagement, the muscle either side, and then bring the other hand to the front of the throat. And could you get a little longer in the front of the throat? This is what we're doing, is arching and engaging the back of the neck and opening and decompressing the front of the neck. Breathe 3, breathe 2, breathe 1, and then release. So anyone who has neck issues or shoulder issues or jaw issues, this particular practice with the neck and head is a super way of realigning the neck, strengthening the muscles of the neck. And most of us, we have chronically misplaced necks. They're just out of position. Okay, perfect. Let's take the left ankle over our right thigh. Let's move the hips a little to the left and drop the two legs over to the right. So we have the sole of the left foot either on the floor or facing the floor if it doesn't want to go all the way down, and either is perfect. Now, if it's accessible, the right hand is going to hold the left foot or the left ankle. But the sole of the foot is horizontal. So you're not tilting to the side or leaning on the side of the foot. Okay. First thing, top knee, very simple, begins to tilt away from you. And you'll notice that brings you into a feeling of tension in that left hip. So the moment you're connecting to that tension, breathe into it. Breathe into it. Stay with the breath. Couple more breaths here. Okay, stay in this position, let the top leg relax. Very easy to be here. Now your left hand, first thing I want you to do is feel your left butt with your left hand. Just have a palpate, have a feel, have a poke. You'll notice the left glute is switched on. So those muscles that make up the glute are engaged because of the position of the leg, how the bone of the leg sits into the hip socket, creates a fire and engagement, a connection. Now, if you take the left hand lower to the right butt, underneath, you'll notice it's not really doing the same thing. So how could we position it to begin to create more of an engagement? If you have the fingers of that left hand, the tips of the fingers at the base of the buttocks, kind of top of the hamstring, base of the buttocks, and the idea of pressing your buttocks back into your hand. Pressing your bum back. Now, you go to whatever is accessible. You'll notice you move the slightest bit and that base glute, that right glute is going to begin to fill a little. And this is all we want. Sustain that reposition of the pelvis and let the top knee once again begin to tilt away from you. So a few different things going on. Don't force. Yes, it's a little uncomfortable. Yes, there's work. Settle at the same time. Let the shoulders drop. Relax the jaw. Breathe. Breathe. Deep, long, steady breaths. And breathe 5, 4, 3, 2, and then for 1, let everything begin to release. Very simple here. Just lift the left foot over the right leg, slide it back. And when you're ready, we'll bring the right leg back, bring the hips back. And the 2 feet on the floor, a little sway in the hips. Notice your breath. And then we'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh. So we're going to move the foot and the hips a little to the right and let the 2 legs drop over to the left. And again, if it's accessible, you're holding that right foot with the left hand or right ankle. Now, you might find this is far enough. I already feel tension in my hip. Perfect. You just breathe into what you meet. If you feel like you want to go further, you begin to tilt that top knee away from you. Breathe into the tension. Stay with your breath. So we just give it time. Okay. Stay in this position, let everything relax. Right hand, first we feel the left, or the right glute, excuse me, the top glute. So as you feel it, you'll notice again, okay, all of that's engaged. We go down to the base glute, you feel not doing the same job. So the fingers at the base of the glute, so the right fingers at the base of the left glute, and we see can we begin to press that part of the buttock back. Sometimes it's tricky to work out how to move our hips. We're not used to moving them in particular ways. They get very rigid, calcified. So the bum sticks out. Deep breath. Just keep settling yourself as you reposition. Let the top knee begin to tilt away from you. Soften your face. Stay with your breath. Long, deep, steady breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And breathe 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Again, let everything soften. Lift the right foot over. Bring everything back. We're back on our backs, 2 feet on the floor. Come back to your breath. Close to your breath. Okay, take the 2 hands to the center of the chest. Rest one hand on top of the other. Let the elbows stay heavy on the floor. Imagine you're breathing through this space now. And again, we can move to some deeper breaths. Imagine you're breathing through the center of your chest. Keep your attention at the center of your chest. And then move the arms so they're away from the body, resting on the floor. Let the palms turn up to face toward the ceiling. And then bring the attention back to the breath, imagining that you have nostrils at the center of your chest, and you're breathing through those nostrils, taking long, deep, comfortable breaths. Now stay connected to your breath and just stretch one leg out and then the other. But most importantly, I want you to be comfortable. So if you need to adjust or move in any way, please feel free to do that. Bring the attention back to the breath, taking these long, deep, steady breaths. Breathing into the heart, into the center of your chest. And then let your breath come back to its natural rhythm. So you do no work and you allow yourself to be breathed. And your job here is to let yourself surrender, to let the floor hold you for the next few moments. Let every muscle let go. Any tension, any holding you become aware of, allow it to release, invite it to soften. Begin to take some deeper breaths, moving your fingers, moving your toes. Stretch in any way that you wish to. And when you're ready, we're going to bend one knee at a time. And we're going to roll over to the side and take a few moments here just to get comfortable. And as you get comfortable, just stop again. Pause. Notice your breath. Stay with the breath. Stay close to your breath. Letting the attention just be with your breath for the next few moments. Connected to this internal space. And the breath is such a beautiful way of transitioning. The breath moves from the outside to the inside. Where so much of our lives focuses on the outside, on the outer experience. So many demands of the outer world. Our practice, this moment, an opportunity to be aware of the inner space. Take your time, bring yourself to sitting. When you get there, close your eyes again, and one more time, just come back to the breath. Just notice the breath, notice it moving through you. Your inhalations and exhalations. When your eyes are tired, the world is tired also. When your vision has gone, no part of the world can find you. Time to go into the dark, where the night has eyes to recognize its own. There you can be sure you are not beyond love. The dark will be your home tonight. The night will give you a horizon further than you can see. You must learn one thing. The world was made to be free in. Give up all the other worlds except the one to which you belong. Sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn. Sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn. Anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. Anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. Let's bring the hands together in front of the heart. So we are part of a rhythm, we are part of a pulsation, we are part of a cycle. It sometimes is hard to sense that when our world moves so swiftly, but there is a slower pulsation happening, a more natural one, that we can attune to when we begin to pause. May our practice be that pause, one of the pauses that we take. May it allow us to feel something, to see something, to connect to something deeper within ourselves. May we remember that we are full, that we are complete. May we meet what we need to meet within ourselves as we move home. We take our hands to touch our forehead and our lips and our heart. And then to ourselves and to each other we bow. Namaste. Good work. So, I hope you enjoyed the practice. I hope you take more time in these days to be quiet, be still, be in the darkness, that inner darkness. For anyone who wishes, we have a month of meditations coming up for November. We're going to start on the 2nd of November, on Monday the 2nd of November. And you can find information about that on my website, michaelrunyoga.com. And equally you can pay for classes or donate for classes on that website too. And then there's a few other things coming up in terms of offerings. We have a Zoom Christmas retreat over the Christmas week, so that'll be there, and then hopefully some live days in January. So I wish you all the very best. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're doing well. If anybody has any feedback or any questions, feel free to get in touch. Anything you'd like to see included in the practice, or, I'm happy to have a chat. All right. Take care of yourselves. Bye.